AJ Hawk is here. Also joining us is a man who scored 4 tutters just yesterday. Has one of the greatest nicknames in the history of the NFL already. Mapletron comes by way of Notre Dame. Ladies and gentlemen, wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, number 11, Chase Claypool. Yeah! Attaboy, Chase. What's going on, bub?
How we doing, guys?
Not as good as you, dude. Let's talk about this real quick. Number 11, awesome number. 7-Eleven, always open, you and Ben Roethlisberger. At what point did you know that you and Ben were going to be this tandem that was just a beautiful thing to watch? You got Steelers fans super excited. Juju can go back into the slot role. We got a guy that can take the top off of defense and loves making plays. At what point did you know you and Ben were going to be a good connection?
I honestly thought that as soon as I got drafted.
Yes.
But as a young rook, you can't really go ahead and say that until you start producing on the field. So I had to wait for my time, and finally it came. So I was thinking that the whole time.
Jeez, I love that.
Hey, when was the first time you actually got to interact with Ben in person?
That must have been in June. We had some PRPs going on, and that's the first time I met him, first time I got to throw with him. And as soon as I was able to catch one of his passes, I knew right away it was going to be a good year.
PRP, player,
Ran practice?
player ran practice?
Player ran practice. Yeah.
Okay, we feel pretty good. You're much smarter than us. You went to Notre Dame, obviously, go to Canada. I mean, that whole thing. I believe today is Canadian Thanksgiving, so happy Canadian Thanksgiving to you, sir.
Thank you.
How does it feel to represent Canada, though, in the NFL in a big fashion? Now, I know that Canada has always had players that have been in the NFL, but the name Mapletron, obviously Canada. For you to have 4 touchdowns in a game in your first season, I mean, Canada has to be on your shoulders at this moment. How big is it to know that an entire country is potentially on your back in this world of the football?
Yeah, it's huge. It's a big part of my motivation for sure. You know, I see all the love after every game that people show me. So, you know, it drives me forward and it allows me to have the success that I have. But, you know, I'm happy I can represent the way that I have so far, for sure.
Hey, what's Mike Tomlin like? Pat and I were speaking earlier in the show. Like when they talk about the big-time coaches in the NFL, Tomlin, for some reason, doesn't get the pub he deserves. Like, what's he like now that you've been in there for a little bit and you've got to be around him?
Yeah, I think the best thing about Coach T is that he tries to develop us off the field. He doesn't just look at us as football players, and he cares about what we do off the field almost as much as what we do on the field. So I appreciate him for that.
Have you been treated like a rookie by anybody in there? Or is it new year, can't really do that, it's 2020, we don't have much time to kind of mess around with maybe the rookie, you got to earn your stripes type thing?
No. I as soon as I walked in the building, Ebron was giving me a tough time. His nickname for me was Rook Ass Rook. So he said that to me every time he saw me for the whole training camp. And then obviously I had a rookie dinner, which hurt the bank account a little bit. But,
How much?
It was north of 10,000.
Keep catching the ball, brother. Keep catching the ball, Chase.
Yeah.
What you got, AJ?
Yeah. What's it like with Ben Roethlisberger? He's been doing it in the league forever. This is a comeback year on multiple fronts for Ben, coming off an injury. I'm just wondering how you have such a good rapport with him so early on.
Yeah, I think this year especially, he's really specific in what he wants from his receivers. And after any play that he didn't feel right about, he'll go ahead and tell you, hey, you got to release this way. You have to break out of your route this way. This is where I'm going to put the ball. So I think that really helps kind of knowing what to expect on each play.
Mid-drive, like in the middle of a drive, will he come up and tell you how he wants the route run, like in between plays?
Either right after a play or right before a play. So if he calls a play in the huddle, he'll be like, all right, if you have this coverage, this is how I want you to run it. If it's this coverage, I might not even be going to you, so you should run it this way to free someone else up. So he's always thinking, and it's crazy to think that someone's been around for that long and they know they know what's going to happen before it happens.
I think the interesting thing about you, the amount of success you've had, is how young you are, because football IQ only grows and grows, especially at wide receiver where you have to get crafty out there against DBs that are incredible. So the thought that he's already telling you, like, hey, on this coverage, you're doing this and this, means he's got a lot of trust in you. Who are some guys that you looked up to? Because you're this fast, go and get it wide receiver, but you also run great routes. I mean, who are some wide receivers that you've looked up to through coming through Notre Dame, and now that you're in the league, you watch film of potentially?
Yeah, so obviously I watched Julio Jones. I watched Megatron for sure. And then I like to watch smaller receivers who are a little shiftier because I figured if I was a bigger receiver who could move like those guys, it would only help. So I watched like Keenan Allen, Michael Thomas, and then like Adam Thielen and stuff like that.
Don't fight your teammates.
Chase, Pat just talked about you being young, but like the whole wide receiver room is young. Like Deontay and James are only 24. Juju's been, if this is his fourth season, but he's only 23. Like, who's the leader in the wide receiver room, and like who do you guys go to maybe for some advice?
I think Juju's definitely the most vocal guy in the room. He's very, very goofy, which helps lighten things up. He's never too serious, which I think is good for a young group like us. But the thing I kept telling the receivers is we're so deep. So everyone has a voice, and, everyone trusts everyone pretty closely. So I think that's a big part of our success.
Are your gloves okay? I saw the ball was stuck there.
Yeah. It was a tough little moment for me, but I got the gloves back there, getting stitched up.
Yeah, smart. I would hang on to those 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
No big deal. The off week that you were forced into there because of the Tennessee Titans, how did you guys treat that in practice? Was it still as if you were playing the Titans all the way up until then, or did you turn your focus to the Eagles, or did you turn that on working on the Steelers getting better there for like the day and a half, 2 days that you had knowing you weren't going to play?
Yeah, so until we found out if we were playing or not, we were preparing to play the Titans. And then as soon as we found out, we actually found out heading onto the field. So our practice was technically structured to play like the Tennessee scout defense. So we just went on with that practice, and we practiced one more time, just basic stuff. And then we waited the next week to actually prepare for Eagles. But that week was definitely big for us. But now we got 13 straight, so it's gonna be tough for sure.
Hey, you rook-ass rook, you can't worry about that.
one game at a time.
So what is it like after games now? Like, obviously you're a rookie, so it's your first time experiencing like post-game NFL, but you have plenty of post-games at Notre Dame. You get to see your family, hang out, go out, have some fun. Now, what do you do after a game?
Bro, 4 touchdowns too. Can't do anything. Oh man, go home, play video games.
It was actually kind of sad because I pulled up to the game, but I couldn't really do anything. Couldn't really show them a good time. We did go out to dinner, but that's not what you want to do when you just score 4 touchdowns. You want to black out.
Yeah. And by the way, Pittsburgh is a good city to do that in. I think you would not be alone in that case, especially if they saw you out and about at that particular time. But are there certain rules that you're allowed to? You said you went and got dinner or whatever, but I would assume as a rookie, they're potentially talking to you more, maybe less than everybody else about how, especially with you guys seeing what happened with the Tennessee Titans, if there's any little outbreak of COVID, it's potentially detrimental to your entire season. How has that been? Like, what are the rules whenever you get out of practice, when you get out of the game, everything like that?
Yeah, no doubt. We have to keep our social gatherings very limited, and it's pretty strict on who we can and cannot see. So it is a tough adjustment because you want people to be able to come to the game, you want people to visit you, but you have to ask yourself, is it worth the risk? So I haven't seen too many people this year. This past game was the first friend I saw all year, it was nice to see a friendly face, but it is also a little risky bringing people in, so you just got to be careful.
What's the biggest difference between college football and the NFL? I watch a lot of college football now because I get a chance to do college game day every weekend, and I obviously have to know what I'm talking about. But whenever you talk about college defenses, you're talking about elementary defenses, and they have to be because everybody runs so fast. But I would assume in a lot of games, I didn't watch all your games, you had to be the fastest, biggest, toughest guy on the field for everybody. Now that you're in the NFL, is there been any difference? It doesn't seem like you've slowed down at all. What is the biggest difference in your eyes between college football and the NFL?
Yeah, honestly, I think the biggest difference is throughout the week, how NFL teams prepare. I think it is a lot more professional in terms of making sure you're ready to play the game at 100%. I remember in college, like I'd be killing myself in practice, and then come game time, I'm sore, which should never happen. But I think that's how it is for most college programs. And then it's a complete 180 when you get to the NFL. When it come game time, you're 110% and you're feeling good, and that's just based off the week preparation.
What was training camp like? I know Pittsburgh, like Mike Tomlin is known to run a tough camp, usually a very physical camp. I don't know if COVID changed that, but how was it, I guess, compared to what you thought it would be?
Camp was definitely it wasn't too much of a challenge in my opinion, but I think you could tell that people were keeping a close eye on you for sure. Every rep mattered, and since it was such a short camp, everything you did translate directly into what would happen in the season. So if you played well in camp, you'd probably be playing in the season. And if you had a bad camp, you're probably not playing. So it was a lot on the line every practice for sure.
Hey, you're a physical specimen, huh? You always have been, just a freak.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been blessed with good genetics for sure.
Well, camp was nothing for me, man. I mean, maybe others might be tired or whatever, but it wasn't shit to me. What up, Nick?
Chase, I know you got a basketball background, but as a Canadian, I have to ask you, are you a hockey guy?
Yeah, I actually grew up playing hockey. Yeah, I was a goalie until my knees started hurting at a young age. It's not for me anymore, but I grew up playing hockey. I was a big hockey fan, fan of the Canucks. And then I guess I got too tall and I just moved on to other things. But yeah, I grew up playing hockey.
Yeah, you went on to a relevant sport. That was a smart move. In Pittsburgh, though, Penguins are going to treat you very nicely. That city, first class operation, obviously. And I'm kind of bummed you haven't got to experience Pittsburgh at all, really, right? Because you've been locked down. You haven't even got a chance to experience the city. Whenever you see that stadium and it's empty and they had, 7,500 people in there or whatever, you haven't even really got to experience Pittsburgh yet. And I think that is what I'm most excited for you, is that place is going to go bonkers for Chase Claypool, I think.
It's nuts because we just had fans for the first time this season. There was only 5,000 fans, and I was getting some insane adrenaline. So I can only imagine 65, 70,000 people watching you and cheering you on. So Pittsburgh's a great city, great sports town, and I'm hyped to get this thing started.
Hey, man, what do you got, Dick?
Chase, have you talked to Coach Tomlin and Coach Smith, who does the special teams? Like, hey, how many touchdowns do I have to score to maybe stop covering kicks and punts?
No, keep doing that.
Yeah, I was actually trying to be in the Pro Bowl for special teams. And
Let's go. There we go.
So I haven't had a conversation anything like that. But in the game, if I do come off a long drive, Coach Smith will show some love and he'll take me out for a play.
Need you out there. You know what I mean? Like for all special teams across the NFL, we need a guy scoring 4 touchdowns, then playing gunner on the like that is what we need out there, Chase. I mean, granted, not smart at all. You could get hurt doing something that anybody else on the team could potentially do and all that stuff. But boy, for the special teams unit, we need you out there, Chase.
Yeah, it's good for the brand, no doubt.
Bingo! Hell yeah. My God!
Let's go.
Yeah, Chase, there were 10 wide receivers taken before you. Is that something you think about, and does it motivate you at all?
Yeah, it was definitely a deep class this year, and seeing those guys' names get called before you, me knowing what I was capable of, it's not frustrating because no matter where you get picked, you're going to make an impact and you're going to do well. So it's only a matter of time before these other teams who pass up on you start shaking their head, and I'm just happy I was able to do it sooner than later.
Have you
Chase,
all? Yeah, I'm sorry, AJ. Go ahead.
No, I got my last thing. I just want to ask about Notre Dame quickly and Brian Kelly. A lot of people from the outside that watch Brian Kelly, we get to see him get pretty upset at the referees. His face may get a little bit red. The guy seems to be pretty fiery. I'm curious what it was like playing for him and how much you pay attention to them still. You think they got a shot this year?
Yeah, I think Notre Dame is a really good team put together. Coach Kelly's a great coach. I had a great relationship with him. So I have nothing but great things to say about him. The things are coming together slowly but surely. I think as soon as we hit Clemson, we're going to be ready for that challenge. So I'm excited for that.
Well, you better be, because that team is they're like 9 deep at every position right now at this particular point. And Dabo doesn't look like he's slowing down at all. Let's talk about you off the field. What are some of your hobbies? You a gamer? You a collector? You chill? You work? What do you do off the field?
Yeah, no, I'm a gamer. So when I come back, especially in this season, when I come back from the facility, probably gaming. So I got to set up a Twitch. I got to follow Juju's footsteps there, but I would say that's my main hobby.
What do you play? What game?
Call of Duty is my my main game.
Oh, you're a sniper, a killer,
Yeah.
huh? Chase, we can't thank you enough for joining us, man. Continued success in the rookie season. You're going to hit a rookie wall at some point. I think AJ and I can tell you that. Weeks about 9 to 14, potentially. Just know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, especially in this incredibly long season you're about to have.
I'll keep that in mind. I appreciate you.
Hey, you're the man. Keep going. Ladies and gentlemen, Chase Claypool. See you, Chase. That rookie wall is no joke, AJ, by the way. Once you get to like week 8, week 9, in the beginning of the season, in your OTAs, in your quarantine, in your combine, in your senior season, which you have not stopped since, you get there and you're just like, whew, everybody's smarter than me, bigger than me, everything I've ever been, and everybody's fresher than I am. It feels like the world's going to crumble. And then you get to like week 13. It's like, okay, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We'll be able to get to the other side. That kid's unbelievable. Looks like he is not worried about a damn thing, by the way.
No, big, physical, intelligent receiver. Like, what a great pickup in the second round. Pittsburgh, I know, has a history of picking guys up, not in the first round as receivers, but later on in the draft, and they turn out to be stars. I mean, Ben is a big reason of that, and Ben helps them become stars. But, yeah, man, they know what they're doing. Claypool, you just look at him. He's pretty impressive physically. Like 6'4", what's he weigh?
6'4".
I don't.
And he weighed at the combine 230, and he jumped 40 and a half on his vertical, and he ran a 4.4 flat.
And 10 people were drafted ahead of him.
Yeah.
So he's motivated. Okay. And on draft day, he said he knew that he and Ben were going to get along well. Like, there was no panic or anything like that. He's like, whoever gets me is about to get a stud. And since day one, by the way, this dude has been a stud. Pittsburgh's got to be thrilled with him. I also like his answer. I wish I could go black out or something like that.
Yeah.
By the way, Pittsburgh's going to love that answer. They're like, don't you worry about it, bud. We'll get you down the road if you can bring back a Lombardi to the south side.
Just keep your head on a swivel, Donner.
Yeah, well, Chase Claypool.
No, he'll be
he's
all right.
Mapletron. He's Mapletron.
He'll be all right.
And he's a sky cam at this point. He's got all the affliction shirts will be walking around below him at 2:30 a.m. on Southside.